Welcome to the H series of webinars. This series is aimed at new and aspiring sheep producers to give them a step up into the Queensland sheep industry. This harvesting webinar is part 7 of the series and explores the basics of wool handling and clip preparation. This webinar was delivered by AWEX Wool Classer Registrar Fiona Raleigh on the 26th of August 2020. This is clip 6 of 10 and covers preparation for shearing.
Point 3 for grower responsibilities is the preparation of facilities. I think, this is a contentious issue often, but I can't emphasise the importance enough. We really do have responsibility in this time with COVID to provide a hygienic workplace. It's no longer good enough to wash your hands in a bucket of water that everyone else has washed their hands in. So I would definitely say as a grower that you check up on, there's some good literature out there on what's required for COVID guidelines. But having said that, they pretty much are the general hygiene and workplace health and safety guidelines that you should be putting in place anyway. From my experience as a classer also, if there's plenty of rubbish bins around and those rubbish bins are emptied regularly, then, staff will put rubbish into bins. But if they're overflowing or not present, then that's also adding to a contamination risk. I'm not sure from the presentations that I might have been before about the importance of broken grating personnel falling through penning up, but also for leg breakages on sheep. Number one cause of broken legs is broken grating, so make sure that you have that repaired from an animal welfare perspective. We have quite a high incidence of overweight bales coming through this system. So if you remember back to the beginning, I said that the Code of practice is written around the pipeline, and bale weight is very important in the way a bale is sampled for testing and also transported. So make sure that you calibrate your wool press scales. If you don't have scales on your wool press, then you have to make an allowance that your classer will be moderate in the bale weights that they put out. Pressing to what you think is maximum is really looking for your wool to be overweight when it goes to be tested, and overweight bales, which is over 204 kilos, will be opened up and will be taken out. Now, whether that wool is put into another bale of lower weight or whether it's put into rehandle, every piece of wool that doesn't make sale, every fleece that doesn't make sale for you will not make maximum price. Don't have overweight bales coming through the system. Just basic equipment, pens that work prior to sale, the equipment that we need to brand and mark bales up, that needs to be clear. When bales are being tested, the way they're marked up, the branding has to be read remotely, so it needs to be very clear and easily read. And obviously the grower is responsible for providing that equipment, so that's an important aspect. Adequate wool bins. This is an issue that I often hear wool classes in my job talk about lack of space, especially if your enterprise is quite mixed. So if you have sheep of different shearing intervals or age groups coming through, then you have to realise that the classer will need lots of wool bins. It's an important requirement. So make every effort to provide plenty of space for the wool classer to make those lines. And also there'll always be oddments that just don't match. So there needs to be space in the shed for those oddments, those fleeces that don't match the main lines to be sat. It can be quite easily made out of some farm gates, could be stood up. Doesn't mean you have to go out and get special wool bins, but just pay attention to what your enterprise is and make sure that the requirements match the enterprise. Wool tables, again, if you've got big fleeces, round tables probably aren't ideal. Small tables with mesh tops aren't ideal either. If you have big cutting sheep, then having a very good table will mean that the classer and the wool handlers are able to prepare the fleece to the best requirement.
Thank you for watching this short clip. For more information, please visit www.leadingsheep.com.au.